Good morning and welcome to Live Without Limits. Reach personal success on a daily basis. Today's discussion is titled, Are you taking care of your feelings? 5 steps that you need to take now. And this is also involved in self-care and making sure that you are taking care of yourself, because we often don't think about how we need to be the ones who think of ourselves first, because others will always be taking advantage of you and how you feel. Unless you acknowledge that you're hurt or you're angry, often you just bury it and you allow others to continue with their behavior. So cars have a check engine lights. Planes have sophisticated alarms and lights that go off when something is wrong. And we have our bodies to react, sending clues to inform us that something is wrong. And we get headaches, feel dizzy, and so on. Because when you are feeling angry and hurt, you internalize. And when you internalize it, you're affecting your health. And this is what our main concern is, to help you deal with it and not bury it. These, what are your thoughts and feelings telling you about your overall health? Our minds, our brains. The brain, as much as we can tell, is the organ that houses our mind, while most people who are health conscious will instinctively check in on their physical health. They may rarely stop to consider what's going on within the dark caverns of their skull. They do not consider what goes on in their minds. They do not consider their thoughts and feelings. Often, this can cause insomnia simply because what it's doing is it's causing you to have, or rather, what's going on is that you are constantly, those thoughts are still there no matter what. So always remember, you have to protect yourself. At first glance, it is almost too easy, in fact, tempting, to overlook our thoughts and feelings because they do not bleed, tear, or ache like our tissues, muscles, and bones. They are not physical, yet they exert the most impact on our lives. We suffer more often in our imagination than in reality, said Seneca Roman, a philosopher. The fact that many conditions have been traced to and are rooted in poor mental health are more than enough reason to pay closer attention to our thoughts and feelings. In case you're wondering, some of these conditions include unexplained headaches and pains, insomnia, obesity, clinical depression. We don't realize how, when our feelings are hurt, it creates holes in us. So what happens is you will want to fill that hole. So what's the first thing you do? You go out and get something to eat. Stepping away from the realm of illnesses and diseases, the quality of life one enjoys is to great extent tethered to how one thinks and feels. We choose to be unhappy, but how can someone decide to be unhappy in the right mind? Would choose to be unhappy? Who? Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Said Abraham Lincoln, the problem is that it's not that they choose wrongly, but that not choosing is also a choice. The quality of life we lead is greater, dependent on how much we limit the suffering in us while increasing the enjoyment in it. If you don't take care of your life, it can be one horrible roller coaster. But how do you regain control of your life and happiness if you are already in an overwhelming situation? Start by checking in on your thoughts and feelings. So, here are 5 steps to check in with yourself. And this is so important. The aim of checking in on yourself is to know exactly the people, places, and circumstances that make you feel happy so that you can expose yourself more to those and those that make you feel down in order to limit your exposure to them. So below are a quick guide to help you keep your pulse in those thoughts and feelings. Now, when my mother was alive, I found that she was negative and she was toxic and she could not be any different simply because that was the home environment she grew up in and that's all she knew. And I could not be around her. And the last few years of her life, I very rarely saw her because I felt like I did not have to put up with it. And then my sister got control of the estate. And she is so petty and so jealous of her other sisters that she is so abusive that after the last time she pulled it on me, I decided that I was not going to take it anymore. And when I saw her physically abusing my sister, I decided it was time to do something about it and got adult protective services involved. And now she's under investigation. And because my mother couldn't control my life, she decided she was going to leave me just $1. And you know what? That was fine with me. But the fact that my younger sister has been abusing me, I decided that I had a right to my fair share of the estate because my father set things up to make sure that all his children would be taken care of. But because he preceded my mother, he left it to her. And then she decided that because she couldn't control me and continue to abuse me, she was not going to leave me anything. And you know what? Yes, there's some anger there, but I have not let it affect how I live my life. So here are some things to think about. Breathe, learning to slow everything down. You need to slow down and take a deep breath. Life can get very busy with its urgencies and deadlines, but you must realize that not everything that is urgent is important. Sometimes it may just be you trying to distract yourself with work, music, or some other activity. You need to pause and breathe. Breathing pulls you into the body. It keeps you grounded and aware of what is truly important, your wellness. Observe what's actually happening to you with all activities halted. Bring your mind to observe all that is going on within you. And this is so important because sometimes we just don't even pay attention to our bodies until we get so sick. Apart from registering our physical health, our body sends signals about how we are feeling. So maybe your heart is racing. Backaches are becoming more common. You're breathing heavily. Your eyes get blurry. You feel a tightening in your stomach. These are all indicators of different physical and emotional states. And it is only by observing that you know when to steer clear of the activity to do or do more of it. Meditate. Recognize your thoughts without attaching to them. We talk about meditation all the time, and it's for good reason. It helps. First, find a quiet, private space where you can sit without distractions for at least 5 minutes. Start breathing slowly in and out, even keeping count as you do. Focus on breathing in for a count of 4, holding your breath for a few beats, then exhaling to a count of 4. During this, a few times will help to calm you and set the tone of what next. When you feel more peaceful, begin to allow your emotions to flow, remaining aware but unattached. This is a practice where you recognize the emotion, but don't let yourself be carried away by it. Try to just see it like a person across the street. You can see them, but you don't have to talk to them. Feel the anger, fear, anxiety, passion, shame, joy, and all other emotions that flow in and out of your mind. Observe how strong they were and the thoughts and feelings that accompanied them. Capturing these observations is a journal, can be helpful as well, and you can revisit them as you go. Journaling is considered one of the best ways to get in touch of where you are and what you want in life. And if you've ever been aware or been involved with the laws of attraction, journaling is very much a part of that. Inquire about your feelings with your body and mind steadied. Ask yourself how you really feel. Don't make it vague and generic. For example, don't just ask, why am I feeling low? Instead, really dig deep and ask questions as precise as ever. How did I feel when Tashia told me she was not going to help me out with the project because she was busy? How was I feeling when I sent that mail to Zachary? Why am I so scared of telling Chris the truth? Asking specific questions like these can uncover uncomfortable truths, but it is only when you know the problem that you can effectively fix it. Journal. A lot of people argue that writing down your feelings and reading them can be almost as effective as visiting a therapist. Journaling is a very un- underrated tool that you can use to care for your inner world of thoughts and feelings. All that is required is that you sit down with a pen and paper and be honest with yourself. Write down all that transpired throughout the day, how you responded to different circumstances, and more details by stating why you responded the way you did. What were your thoughts and feelings? Begin a practice of checking in on your feelings by employing these simple practices and turning them into daily routines and rituals. You'll be able to run your life more effectively by eliminating the unhealthy ones while optimizing for the best experiences. Remember to be kind with yourself and alone along the way. It won't happen all at once. Just giving yourself the gift of promise and to improve and find balance that you've done this. Now, before we go, let's talk about what we talked about. We talked about the importance of observing your feelings, of knowing what's going on inside you, of meditating, of journaling, and some of the various topics that are important for you so that you can do what you need to do in order to take care of your personal feelings and have the right mindset as you go through life, because without it, then you are not living your life to the fullest. And this is so important. You want to be able to live the best quality of life possible on a daily basis.